Welcome to Missing the Magic, your husband and wife Disney duo. Michelle is the pixie dust optimist, cheering for warm churros and stunning fireworks. Joe is the grumpy realist, calling out lines and prices that miss the mark. We give credit where Disney makes magic and call them on it when they don't. From parks to cruises, films, and food, clear takes and sharp laughs await. Skip the fluff, keep the fun, and get tips for a smoother trip. Grab your ears, bring your backpack, and let's find the magic together.
Anything you want to say before we get into them, or you just want to get into the list?
I guess we can just get into the list.
The fact that I have 5 pages of notes, is that a bad thing?
I'll just kind of sit back and...
They might not want us back after this.
Oh, and at the, during this recording, obviously this isn't going to air for a couple of weeks.
Right.
It happens to be the weekend before Christmas, and we are at the tail end of Hanukkah, so
yes,
the attire.
You've been Hanukkah-fied.
Yes.
So, anyway, happy Hanukkah and Merry Christmas and happy holidays to everyone, since we're going to be 4 weeks late.
Right. So Happy New Year.
That too. Yeah. All right. So the first concern or first issue I had actually was with the feedback process. So the last day that you are on the cruise, they give you an invitation through the app to fill out a survey.
Correct.
So the problem I have with that is only one person can fill it out because it's per room.
Correct.
Which is unfortunate because you had a very different experience than I did.
Mm-hmm.
And I think both of those experiences are valid.
Absolutely. And then there are also people that aren't necessarily a family that are sharing a room too. So you have, friends, colleagues.
There's even bloggers that share rooms together that are influencers doing.
So, and the other thing too is that they make such a point to don't forget to do your survey. Right. Don't forget to do your survey. Do your survey
because that's how everyone gets all their credit.
Right.
So yeah, they're on top of you to do it, but you only get to do it once.
Right. And you have to do it while you're still
on the ship. Because you have to be on the network to do it.
Right. Because once you get off the ship, you don't have any access to it anymore.
Right. So much to my surprise, I didn't have the ability to do that. I had to go digging around for a bit, but I did find an email address, which we'll include in the show notes when we post it, where I could send an email.
Mm-hmm.
And I did, and I sent a very long manifesto of complaints to them. And to their credit, they reached out several times to try to talk to me about it, but I was never able to finally schedule a time with them.
Right. Might want to just reach out to them.
I'll try it again one more time.
Yeah.
Because they apologize at the end. They're like, oh, we're terribly sorry that you didn't have a good time. And like the last line in my email was, we had a great time despite all this.
Right.
So anyway, if Disney wants to improve things, let you do multiple surveys for the number of people that are booked. Because it's not like they don't realize you got 5 people in a room.
And I could also understand them wanting you being time sensitive.
Right.
Because think about it. If you were to go back now and do a survey, would you remember everything? Would you remember the people? Would you remember everybody's names? And
yeah, we took notes, so I would remember them.
Okay, you would. But not everybody.
I try not to complain without having some
right, but not everybody does. So I'm just trying to play devil's advocate and say I could understand why they don't want you
such a Disney apologist
to wait.
You really are.
Not always, but they should also, if you didn't fill it out online, at least still give you.
They're not even giving me the opportunity to fill it out because you've already done it, and that annoyed me.
That I completely understand, especially if they know you're on the app. That like you have your account, I have my account.
Well, and they married you to the app. You couldn't do anything without the app, so they need to improve that.
Yeah.
The other one is one that we've complained through this entire series, and that is overcrowding and lines.
Right.
Now, it's not nearly as bad, was not nearly as bad as going to the parks, where Disney makes waiting in line an attraction. It's so bad.
True.
But there was no reason for us to have to wait in that ridiculously long line to go see the show.
Right.
Assign people show times. You assign them dinner times. Assign me a show time.
Right.
Make sure everyone gets a chance to see the show. And if you have additional showings at the end, then anybody that wants can go back and see them again.
Right.
It was a 7-day cruise. Each show was once.
Right. Yeah, they never repeated any of the shows. So if you didn't see it,
that's an issue. I mean, you could certainly.
That was even for the one show. Weren't we on Castaway?
Yes.
And they did a matinee, and one of our table mates, they actually went to the show that night, and they said there was hardly anybody there because obviously the majority of the people were on the island. But if you do that for that show, why not do it for the others? But again, yes, the one show we didn't wait very long for, but the other one,
that first one we didn't wait long for.
The Moana show, we didn't wait terribly long, but it just took a while for everybody to get in and the seating and
you can control the crowding too. You don't want every showing to be elbow to elbow filled with people. The stadiums, the theater was hot. You had all those bodies in there. We've already talked about, and it's probably in here somewhere, but you've got dead spaces in the theater where if you're not packing them in shoulder to shoulder, you can work around those things.
Right.
The other complaint about waiting was dinner. Every dinner was a wait. You've got a scheduled time for dinner. I should be able to show up within 15, 20 minutes of that time and sit down. Why are you making all these people line up outside your restaurant when they could be, granted, you might not be ready to start serving. You might not have all your staff there because they may have other assignments. But seat the people at least. Let them sit down. Let them relax. Why are you standing them in a cattle corral for no apparent reason?
And in most cases, like especially like with Marvel and Coco, it was a fire hazard. Having all those people.
If there was an issue, those people, you would have had a lot of problems.
Right. And honestly, did we need to be the first ones in the restaurant? Was that really gonna get us anything?
Exactly.
So they were
the end of the cruise. We were the last ones to show up to dinner.
We were also the last ones to leave, but that I felt bad because there were other people eating after us, so they did kind of need us. So
true.
So yeah.
So the port excursion, the one day we did St. Thomas, and it's the tropics. It's hot. The sun was out. The sun was beating down. We were exhausted. I almost had heat exhaustion. I don't want to say I had it, but I was very close to it. I was certainly dehydrated. And we get back to the ship, and you have to go through security to get back onto the ship. Well, they have security set up in the comfortable, shaded, air-conditioned portion of the ship where the disembarkation happens, but all the people were lined up outside the ship. In the heat. They didn't have cold towels for you. They didn't have fans for you. They didn't have anything.
Did have cold towels. They just didn't come out until later because you went.
They didn't for us.
Well, you went on the ship because I didn't go back.
Okay, so they put
that's what I'm saying. That's what.
My point is, they didn't have it when I was standing in the sun, dehydrated.
Right. That they should have had that stuff ready within an hour.
Or they should have done what they did at Castaway Cay. They should have set it up so the lines, or majority of those lines, were winding through the inside where it was air conditioned. Again, there was no reason to have those people standing outside.
Yeah, I get it.
So that actually prevented me from going on that partially prevented me from going on the next excursion because I could not recover from that heat at that time.
Right.
So we touched on the theater already. There were complaints that the theater was overcrowded, not just from us. Other people said the same thing. The seats were uncomfortable. They were not. So I'm a large person. In case you can't tell, I am a large person. So if nothing else, you're going to get a perspective on this cruise from large people and people with mobility issues. And they are not mobility friendly. It steps in, steps down, unless you're in a very strict area. So if you have mobility issues, you're going to have problems. The other issue is the seats were very uncomfortable. They weren't meant for people my size. And you're literally sitting on top of other people.
Now, they did have areas for people in wheelchairs.
Yes, they had reserved areas.
Right. So we're not saying all mobility issues were a problem. So
no, you came in the wheelchair, they had a seat where I was walking with a cane and I had to go up and down stairs with that cane, and that is an issue.
Right.
You would have thought a cast member would have seen me with walking issues and directed me someplace that would have been less of a hazard.
Like they did when we had the
muster drill.
Muster drill.
Yep.
Where they saw you and they said, oh, you sit here.
And we were so complimentary about that. I don't know why it's not consistent across the board.
Yeah. I
So, and then the other problem is the obstructive views. We didn't happen to have one, but 2 seats over from us, there's a big giant pillar right in the middle.
Right.
Like, why would you even put seats there at that point? It was just, it's stupid.
Right. No,
there's a commercial now for I think some insurance company or something like that. It's the same type of thing. Guy sits down, he's got a pillar right in front of him.
Oh, yeah.
Like I feel like that was what the theater was built like.
Yeah.
Beverage availability and inconsistent bar experience. So on the last night, I was literally told I couldn't get a beer at the Skippers Society.
Right.
How do you not have beer? You've got literally 4 bars right there, and you can't muster a beer up for me?
Well, and that's what I think made it a positive experience when you went to order a certain beer at the Haunted Mansion parlor, and they didn't have it, but he went to go get it from a different bar.
Next door.
Yeah,
they didn't have cold beer at the time.
Right. They were having issues.
They didn't have cold beer several times after that, but they knew they didn't have a cold beer, so he literally left the bar, went next door to the Scat Cat, and got me the IPA that I was looking for and brought it back.
And the Skipper Society, the Scat Cat, and the Haunted Mansion are all right there. So the waiter, the server at the
how do you go to
Skipper
a bar?
Society,
Someone said, "I'm sorry, we don't have beer." Then it's not a bar. At that point, it's just
at the end of we're towards the end of the cruise. We don't have
and that was the feeling that I got. Was like, oh, well, we didn't stock enough for the whole cruise because it was a 7-day cruise and you can't have a beer now.
Right.
It was idiocy, absolute idiocy. The Quiet Cove. I could spend this entire podcast episode on the Quiet Cove. This was probably the biggest disappointment on the ship for me. It was not
quiet.
It was not comfortable. It was too small. They had one hot tub that had very little shade and was constantly packed. So it was like people soup.
Was like off to the side.
And that's the problem. So the Quiet Cove itself is just in a horseshoe shaped around the back of the ship.
Mm-hmm.
There's no space really for anything.
Right.
Unlike the Quiet Coves on the older ships where you literally have the entire deck to yourself.
Right.
Which is why we booked our next one on the fantasy so we can actually enjoy
so we're
it.
looking forward to seeing the differences there.
It pushes up against to where the Aquamouse is. So the one whole side of the ship where you can sit and relax. There's not much shade unless it's the right time of day.
Right.
But you can see that's where I tried to read my book. And you have this constant noise of the routine of the Aquamouse going off over and over. It was the most distracting, annoying thing ever when you're trying to just get out there and relax.
Yeah, I think I was only up there twice, if that.
Yeah.
Because I actually went into the pool the one time.
Right. And that's the thing. I didn't spend much time up there because 1, it was hard to find seats.
Right.
2, it was extremely hard to find shade.
Right.
And 3, it was noisy.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't a pleasant experience, and that was what was set aside for adults, and they did a really poor job.
Right.
That infinity pool isn't a pool.
No.
It was a puddle.
Yeah.
It was an infinity puddle.
Mm-hmm.
You could fit maybe 8 people, 10 people standing.
Well, and that was the thing, because, and the way it was, it was like had two lips, and then there was an area, so you couldn't swim, obviously. It
Right.
wasn't, it was basically, I'm getting in this to cool off.
Right. And it's
Or drink.
a great view of the ass end of the ship, but other than that, no appeal. You had the two little foot baths that you sat in
Right.
on either side. It was a complete waste of space. People would sit there for 2 minutes and they'd be like, what does this thing do? And then they get up and leave.
And I guess that was more for people that didn't want to be in the people soup.
Right.
And I guess also the way it was kind of set up too, because you also had the servers that were, getting alcohol, was, well, I'm just going to sit here and drink.
Right.
It was really kind of.
But there was no shade. So you were out in the sun the entire
I still have sun.
Yeah, you were out.
My tan line is still from that.
It was not the peaceful adult kid-free environment that there was no kids unless you were sitting over by the hockey announcing you had to listen to them.
Yeah, it was just the adults, but
it wasn't comfortable. It wasn't.
Yeah, if you wanted to sit and read a book, you had to have earbuds in or something.
Right, which kind of defeats the purpose of a quiet code.
Right. At that point, just stay in your room or stay on your veranda.
Right. Number 7, we've bitched about this through this entire series, and that's the elevators and the overall layout and accessibility of the ship itself. They only have 2 elevator banks, which is remarkable because you literally double the number of people in a ship from 2,000 to 4,000.
Right.
You went from 3 elevator shafts to 2. I don't know who did the math on that one, but they need to rethink their math.
Yeah.
One elevator was pretty much out of service at the aft bank of elevators the entire time. It was a different elevator shaft every day that they were doing maintenance on.
Yeah, I never noticed that.
So that made it more difficult. When we tried to get off the ship to go on the excursion to St. Thomas, we had to take the stairs because if we had waited for the elevator,
we would have missed it.
It would have been 2 hours. It was terrible. And then they had a listing in the elevator that the elevator capacity was 20 people.
20 people, and we would have like 10, and we'd be like, okay, where are the
20? If you all lay down and we stack you like cordwood, we might get 20 in, but you're going to get real familiar with your neighbors.
Yeah. And everybody joked about that.
Yeah.
So that was kind of funny.
The other one, number 8, was communications issues. So it wasn't even a lack of communication. It was miscommunication in some cases.
Yeah.
For instance, when we were at Castaway Cay, they basically said, the night before at the one event, they said, nobody get off the ship until we give you the okay because we have to get our crew off and we have to get supplies and blah, blah, blah. Okay, no problem. So we're waiting and waiting. We're sitting on our veranda. We have a view of Castaway Cay. We see all these people filing off. No announcement came. So we decided, all right, well, let's just go down there and we'll get in line. And they're already letting people off the ship.
Right.
It's like, when are you going to make that announcement? We wasted almost an hour waiting for them to make that announcement.
Yeah, where we could have gotten off the ship. We could have gotten photos.
Right. Which ticked me off. And I'm the type of person, I hate when people waste my time. My time to me is extremely valuable. When you waste it, that's unacceptable to me. We were told repeatedly that you needed to bring your government ID with you for your port excursions. Not once did they ask for it.
Nope.
Why would you have me chance taking that with me and potentially losing it on the island if you don't need it?
Right.
If you want to hold it for me, I'll come in, you hold my thing, you line it up to my keys of the world pass, and then you give it back to me when I get on, that's fine.
Right.
But I don't want a chance losing my passport in a foreign country like that.
Right. But on the flip side, it was good that I didn't need it, that having just my magic band was able to access their system and they could verify that it was me.
Right.
But I do agree. They made such an emphasis on making sure you had it, and that was the only time it ever came out of the safe.
Right.
For us.
Right.
Other than that, it stayed in the room. We never
and it should have never come out of the safe. There was no reason for it to come out of the safe.
Yeah, I agree.
Castaway Cay. All right, so I don't have a lot of complaints about Castaway Cay. The first one is you didn't have enough time on the island. We had, I think, 5 hours on the island. 1 hour was wasted waiting to get off the boat. So we had 4 hours on the island.
Right.
It takes you about 20 minutes to get from the island to any part of the beach or island that you want to enjoy because of the long walk and trying to get on a tram and whatever.
Right.
So we had basically 3.5 hours at best for it, which to me is not enough. By the time we finally got comfortable in what we were doing and sat down, we didn't have time to really even get a drink. We spent a little bit of time in the water, and then we went out to Serenity Bay, and there was barely enough time to get one drink.
You could have, because Earl and Tracy,
They got
Got
a
a
drink. A drink.
yeah, well,
That's my point.
okay.
One drink.
Okay.
You know, there's no reason you shouldn't have had more time on that island. Especially since the night before you were literally there. They had to sail out to sea
Right.
to do fireworks and then come in later in the morning.
Right.
So you're literally there.
Right. It wasn't like we had a lot of travel time to
Right.
get there.
Like there's no reason we could have been on that island starting at 8 o'clock in the morning.
No. I
Um,
understand.
what else? Sitting and waiting for the tram.
Yeah.
They need more shade where the trams are. That's for sure.
And it's always tropical.
Right.
It's not like it's seasonal.
It's not like the weather changes, right?
Right. So why not build? And granted, yes, they are. And this was another complaint of ours, because obviously when the island first came into being, the ships that were coming there were only for 2,000 people.
Right.
Now you have 4,000 people, and they are finally making improvements to the island for the capacity increase, but they should have been doing that because these larger ships have been around for a while now.
And they're only getting bigger.
And they're only getting bigger. So
dining, right? I have to be honest, I am not a fan of rotational dining. I do not like being told where I have to eat and what I have to eat. They have limited menus, and the menus rotate. So if I find something, we basically ate at every restaurant at least twice. We ate at
Right.
Coco's 3 times.
right.
If I find something the first night that I like, I can't get it the next night because they changed the menus,
Right.
which is idiotic. Give me restaurant choices and let me make the choices. Don't tell me what time I have to eat. Don't tell me where I have to eat. Treat it like it's a regular restaurant. Let me go where I want to eat that night. I was not a fan of Coco's, and we got stuck there 3 times. Just not the kind of food that I like.
Right.
So I did not like that. And I also didn't like the fact, and this is number 11 here, I did not like the fact that they didn't have an adults-only dining. If it's not an adults-only sitting, at least give me an adults-only section where I don't necessarily have to worry about the kids. Now,
I was going to say.
for us, it worked out well because of my little buddy Duncan.
Right.
If it wasn't for Duncan, I would have been completely turned off having kids around, because you had kids at one point in time ran in front of one of the waitresses, forced her to drop the tray. You got kids behind you screaming. You got kids off to the side running around.
Right.
We were blessed to have Duncan and his family with us because they were the most well-behaved kids there.
Right.
I've said this before. Total kudos to the parents for raising their kids right. It's a shame other people didn't have the same wherewithal.
And excuse me, and I don't know if this would have been different for us. We also did the first dining.
Correct.
So
and that's what a lot of people said. Later dining, you have less kids.
Right. So for us, it might have been a completely different, But
the dining rooms are large enough that you could have, instead of a smoking section, there's the adult section. No kids are going to sit over there.
Right. I could totally see, but I guess, it probably also depends, because not every cruise has the same amount of kids.
Right. But it's a Disney cruise. You're going to have kids.
Well, and that's the thing. So there's there's your argument. There's going to be kids.
Right, but they cater to kids and they cater to adults. Otherwise, you wouldn't have an adults-only section for
absolutely
the quiet.
Or what I could see them doing is, if you have kids in your party that are 10 and up, you're automatically in the later dining. If you have younger kids, you automatically get put like that. That's how they separate it to start. And then if you happen to swim, because there are people that prefer the later dining, even if they have kids, because in a lot of cases, their kids never even eat dinner. So they take their kids to the buffet or they get room service for the kids earlier. And then the kids are off in the play areas and stuff, and they get to enjoy dinner without, the
in
kids.
the grand scheme of things, the way that they do rotational dining, that would make the most sense. However, I prefer choice.
Right.
Don't make my choices for me. If I want to eat at Coco's 3 nights on a 7-night cruise, then I'll eat at Coco's 3 nights on a 7-night cruise.
Right.
If I don't,
And
then I
then,
won't.
right.
The only other option that you have at that point is to go get the quick serve up on the pool deck.
Right.
The buffet's not even open as an option.
Well, see, and that happened, and I didn't realize this until later on. That actually changed during COVID, because before COVID, the buffet was open.
That doesn't do me any good.
I understand. So maybe it will be something that, again, if enough people...
Disney's rolled back so many of the quality...
Well, no, but I'm saying if enough people complain, and this is one of the things I keep seeing on the different Facebook groups where people have these little complaints and they said, email, something got changed, and if enough people complain about it...
And that is what we're making this episode, because if I can enlist some disciples to my cause here,
right,
we can make the cruise a better experience.
He went on one. He's gone on one, and he's already...
We're going to go on another one.
Yes.
They're still getting my money.
Yep.
If I'm going to give you my money, do it my way.
Right. Yeah, I get it.
And carrying over from that, the one thing that would have been nice would be to have multiple show times,
right?
But have adult-only show times. Because that one time that we were packed in there for the Morana show, you had screaming kids, you had kids over here with a snuffy nose, kid over here sneezing. I don't need that, man. I don't need to be sitting around surrounded by Petri dishes. Give me a showing where it's just adults. Give me one. That's all.
You're such a Disney adult now.
Anyway.
The
venue and the design. We've talked about this too. Too small. Too many things and too small.
Right.
They wanted to have so many of these unique little places that they had so many unique little places that you couldn't fit more than 5 people in. Like, I understand the theming. I understand the need to provide variety, especially on a 7-night cruise. You don't want to keep going to the same place unless it's all in a mansion. But
no idea what he's talking about.
In doing what they did, the way they utilized that space was terrible. The Haunted Mansion was too small. Scat Cat probably was too big because I never saw it packed.
No, I did, because the one night, I don't remember if you were already in there or something. We went in and there was no place to sit. They didn't have enough seating on the one side. I don't know if there was anything towards the other side, but I think we went in, we looked, and we left. So,
well, Skipper Society was too small and too open. They were holding events there, and people were spilling out into the hallways, which made for a safety hazard trying to get through.
Right. I wonder. See, again, like Sarabe's was much bigger, could hold more people. Maybe because there were other events going on there, at the same time. Maybe, like it almost seems like things that were in one place should have been someplace else.
Right.
And then the I can't remember what the name of the room is, the one that was next to the Periscope, where we did the...
Oh, yeah, I know which one you're talking about.
Right. So that was just set up as a room, an activities room.
Right.
Why you didn't utilize that?
Well, and even Sarabi's. Every event at Sarabi's, you had people downstairs and upstairs.
Right.
Upstairs was tough because the views weren't that good.
Right.
What they should have done was, instead of splitting it into a double deck, had 2 rooms at that spot using it the same way.
Right.
Because you would have been able to fit more people in there and you wouldn't have had any obstructions to the views.
Right. And you probably didn't need like as big of a stage area.
Right.
Like it seemed like...
Well, at least for the stuff that we watched.
Right.
We did...
Again, we don't know what else.
Indiana Jones there. We did the bingo there.
Right. So you could have fit more people
Yeah.
if you had done it differently.
So that's all the cons that I had.
Mhm.
Any that you disagree with?
No, I think any that, I voiced my devil's advocate.
I don't want to sound unreasonable.
No, not at all. I don't
Because
think
my hatred for Disney can be unreasonable sometimes, and I recognize that. Thanks for watching, and make sure to like us, check out the links below, and we'll see you on the next one.
Have a good one, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
That's a wrap on this episode of Missing the Magic. If you enjoyed the mix of cheers and critiques, follow the show. Leave a quick rating and share it with a fellow fan. Have a question, hot take, or park hack we should try? Send it our way at comments@insightsintothings.com. Or call it and leave us a voicemail at 856-403-8788. Thanks for listening, and thanks to Disney for the memories worth talking about. Keep your ears handy, bring your backpack, and we'll meet you back here for more Missing the Magic.